Hey guys, so before I make a splunge of reviews in the upcoming days, I wanted to come out here and talking about the passing of one Sid, aka as you guys probably might know as Sid Justice, Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid, whatever you call him. Sid passed away at the age of 63, I believe. Passed away on August 26th, and yeah, and his son posted about it on Facebook. How he passed away recently. So yeah, I wanted to talk about a little bit more about Sim because I never just to get out of the way. I was never the biggest Sid fan or I I mostly watched his work from the early to mid 90s. Like some WCW stuff, his two WWF runs at that time. And while I was never a big fan of Sid, when you look around for for the physical standpoint, if you were to build a perfect pro wrestler, Sid Vicious will be in that category. Like the dude, how can you not take one look at him and think, how could he not be one of the biggest stars in the wrestling industry? Like the dude had it all for what you want to be as a wrestler. For a physical look standpoint. Like he was that dude. And to his credit, most of his career he he was pretty well over with the majority of the crowd. Like even when he did some hokey shit in the early days of WC, in his early days with WCW with that Shockmaster stuff. If you know about the story, you probably heard a million of them because it was one of the all-time bad angles from WCW. I mean, a lot of the early 90s WCW shit was so hokey and spooky shit. But Sid in that time was remained pretty well over with the crowd because he did some good shit like power walling people and even his WWF one, the first one, I think it was 92 ish. The dude was over. That crowd fucking erupted when he eliminated Hulk Hogan at that 1992 Royal Rumble when it came down to Hogan, Flair, and Sid, the final three. Sid eliminated Hogan, and the crowd went bananas for that. You might not know that because they fucking controlled the shit out of that crowd reaction. All the old the weeks after this, they twist and manipulate in the way in the weeks after this they will make sure that Hoya would get piping cheers even though the crowd was pretty much surely against the fact that Hoya was eliminated. And it's kind of funny when you look at Sid's two WWF runs at that time was he was pretty well over against mostly stale baby faces Hogan 91, the 92. People were fucking tired of Hulkamania and all that shit. People were tired of it. People got bored. And Sid just happened to oppose it, and he got sheared almost. It wasn't like that every time, but for that instant 92 Royal Rumble, Sid was loved by that crowd. And then they did the Mania match and Sid. The less I talk about that match, the better. As it was not good. One of the most forgettable Mania events of all time. Well, I don't know about forget, but it was pretty fucking boring for the most part. So yeah, and then he left for some reason, like afterwards, when after like a month after Mania in '92, he left. Then he came out another one, WCW. Was was pretty liked by the audience and collaboration backstage parties with in fight with R. Anderson. I heard he left again, and then he was pretty much radio silent for wrestling until '95 when he came back to WWF and I think was the bodyguard for Shawn Michaels against against Diesel at WrestleMania 11, and then afterwards Sid attacked Shawn Michaels, power bombing and sideline him, turning Shawn Michaels babyface, and they even had a match on like a Raw. It was supposed to be at SummerSlam before they realized that car pretty much sucks, so they plotted in Razor Ramon and do the WrestleMania rematch, the ladder match. So yeah, so that's why they did it. And then see right onto the neck injury. It was pretty out for quite a long time afterwards. And then May 1996 came in and he came back and man, that was the run to say I remember he was over like game fucking busters. Like he had a whole crowd cheering against a babyface Shawn Michael was the long-term world champion at that time. And that crowd went ape shit for Sin. And that Survivor Series 1996 Madison Square Garden. But when you look at it, you thought like a big, cool, badass wrestler against the pretty boy toy Shawn Michaels, babyface. Uh, I don't know who the crowd was gonna prefer that. But like, yeah, like that was easily the best Sid match he's ever had his entire career. The best one. And he beat Shawn Michaels to win his first WWF title and held it on to Royal Rumble 97 against Shawn Michaels where he lost to Shawn Michaels in his hometown, San Antonio. And then that whole weird WrestleMania build of the WrestleMania 13 one build. That was a crazy one in itself. That's for another story. But like, so Shawn Michaels vacated that due to losing his smile. Then they had to help the championship in a 4-way, which Bret Hart won. But then the next night on Raw, Sid won the title again and ended up defending the main event of WrestleMania against The Undertaker. Again, the less said about the match, the better. It was pretty bad, but again, like it was over the game goes. And to come to think that WrestleMania built with how Shawn Michaels suspiciously left off the show. If Shawn Michaels were not had lost his mind. If he never did that shit antics, what would Sid have done on the show? Like, what would he? Maybe he would have face taker regardless, but it wouldn't have been for the title. It wouldn't have been may have ended the show, but it did. And again, like they dropped the belt to Taker. He was turning face. He did turn face after it, but then he left for some reasons. Like I think it was injury. He left afterward, and then he did that run, another run in WCW, which he did and did that hilarious prom. I don't remember much about his run. I only remember things like the promo, the funny promo against Kevin Nash, where he did I'm half the brain that you are like Kevin. It was a fun. Go watch that. That's it promo against Kevin. I got half the brain that you do something like that. It was an all time funny promo. It's the category is so bad, it's so good. Then he had like another one a run with the WCW World title in like 2000. I remember he won, but I don't remember much about his reign. And then I remember that unfortunate injury, if you know, in 2001 when I think it was one of the last pay-per-views WCW was. I think WCW Sin it was called. It was in January 2001. Sin was in like a fatal four-way world title match where the champion got Steiner, Jeff Jarrett, and like World Warrior Animal was. He showed up after. It was like they had this match. Sid was going, I think like the middle rope or something, and then his leg like shattered. Like the moment he went off the middle, the second rope, and botched that thing, his leg was completely broken. Like visually watching it, I remember it's one of the most gruesome injury. One of the most gruesome injuries I have ever seen in wrestling. The way his like his leg is like twisted, like it's it's disgusting looking. And the match was like a complete shit show afterwards. They had to like improvise and like yeah, that was pretty sad. And it's sad to think that was the last run of Sid in a major wrestling company. Like he did wrestle. I forgot he did some ECW shit. He was like the crowd loved him. Like if you watch some of the entrances of Sid ECW, that crowd would go nuts for him. And Sid would just powerbombing him, powerbombing people every night. And yeah, and after he did that run WCW, and after that injury, like that gruesome injury in 2001, he that was it. He did. I remember the one match he had on Raw 2012. It was part of the build up to the Legends against Heath Slayer thing. They did that angle, and Sid came out and pretty much just squashed Heath Slayer. That was like a nice token final match for Sid. And yeah, and I can't believe he's not in the Hall of Fame. Like I don't know. WWE needs to better communicate with people to how to get onto those people to the Hall of Fame because, like, Sid was going through some major health issues the last few years of his life, and it's like, how could you? And maybe they, but it's like that should. I don't think that should be excuse for that. Like, they gotta do a better job to introduce people to the Hall of Fame when they're alive, and it's not when they're in their last years of their lives, of, like what Sid has gone to, and yeah, I can't believe he isn't in the Hall of Fame. Like, that's kind of ludicrous if you ask me. Like, compared to the people they put into the Hall of Fame, like, can't believe Sid is not in in the Hall of Fame yet. Like, he should be. Like, he might be going. And I think he did like. Hey, I think he did some interview where he talked about how like maybe now with the new regime in WWE he was going to the Hall of Fame, but for some reason it still hasn't happened yet. But yeah, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Like, simply for the fact like the dude was over and very much well liked by the crowd, and he seemed to be in a nice place in his life afterwards. I remember he was taking pictures. He was very happy in the photos I seen for in the recent photo from recent years. The dude seemed happy in his place in life. I can't believe like he in the Hall of Fame because like I said, the dude has been over everywhere he has been through in wrestling. WCW, right? ECW. The two ones in WWF, WWE. Like, the dude was pretty much well liked. I'm not a fan of him as, like, in ring wise, but, like, as a character, from a look perspective, like, the Sid just had that cool factor. He had that it factor that not many people have in wrestling. He had that. And like his English stuff, like I never viewed it like offensively bad. He's a little bit competent than most of the bad wrestlers I have seen in wrestling. So yeah, like he's not like a really good, but I don't think that was his whole mystique about it. His mistake it was the from a physical standpoint, the low side, the size he had, like the charisma he had, like the dude had that it factor, like I said. And yeah, it's another unfortunate loss for a legend in the wrestling. Just another one of those dudes. Just another sad, ultimately passing wrestling. So yeah, that's my opinion, my thoughts on Sid's wrestling career and for what he has done in wrestling. So that's it for this video. Like this video if you haven't. Tell me what your favorite moments, memories, and highlights from Sid's career in wrestling. Put that in the comment section below. And as always, I'm Jason Maenius, and I approve of this message.